It was packed to the rafters earlier. We're now in an empty Fitzgerald Stadium. Lots of Kerry people gone home, very happy. Mayo people not so. But let's focus on Kerry first of all. Peter Keane will say, Ara, we're happy enough. But I think the county of Kerry are going to be delighted tonight.
Yeah, that was a really impressive performance from Kerry, obviously. From start to finish, they did everything that you could possibly want them to do. Right from their goalkeeper, there would have been question marks. Defensively, there was question marks. Midfield, there was question marks. And they answered all those questions resoundingly. I mean, they were the more impressive team by a mile. They had all the dominant personalities. And it was just really, really encouraging. And obviously, Peter Keane, the rest of them played it down. But, from the Kerry supporters that packed this place, that was everything you could ask for today.
Is it too simplistic to say that Kerry needed this to get the support? Not that they didn't have it, but you know what I mean, to galvanise it, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a part of it, and it's a young team, and it's a new management, obviously, and there was a 24-year record on the line as well that Kerry hold, and that they haven't been beaten here in that long, and you don't get there by chance. So obviously this is a fortress for Kerry, and when they're playing on home soil, it means a little bit more, and it's a little bit of an advantage, obviously. And everything they did was hugely positive, from the way they kicked the ball, their movement, everything was just ticked every box really. But you don't get 24 years unbeaten in a venue without having something special when you play there, and they displayed everything of that today.
Mayo, on the other hand, they arrived here full of optimism and hope, and full of every reason to win here today, or at the least put up a good display. The team are going to go home deflated and probably trying to figure out what went wrong there. They were just low, is what James Horan put it as, and they can understand why. The heat, the amount of games they've played. But how do you pick yourself up from that, or how are you even that low to begin with when you're an elite inter-county team? How does that even happen?
I suppose it was a perfect storm for Mayo, and they were on the receiving end of it, obviously. I mean, the idea of whether they're tired or whether they have momentum, always comes to pass, dictated by the result of the game or the performance. And they didn't perform, and obviously now the narrative might be that they were tired because of the run of games or whatever. I just think the way Kerry started the game, and they were so impressive, they took that kind of oxygen and they took that energy away from Mayo, because Mayo realised pretty quickly they were up against it from the first 5 or 10 minutes, and when Dave Moran was catching the ball, and Clifford the way he was scoring, and Jason Foley and Morley, these guys were really answering the call defensively. It just, Mayo realised really quickly they were going to be up against it, and that is a very deflating thing when you might already be lacking a little bit of energy, and when that comes to pass, it's tough to deal with, and they didn't, and they fell flat, and they didn't deliver anywhere near as good as they were hoping for, obviously.
Can they recover in time for next weekend?
That's going to be the question for them. Obviously, they're staying in Tralee again on Sunday night, and they're going to obviously be in a pool and recover. But I don't think it's a mental thing. I don't think it's a physical thing. I think it's obviously more of a mental thing, and to just find answers and solutions as to why exactly they were so flat. And maybe it is a physical thing. Maybe they just ran out of steam and they ran out of gas, and it was such an emotional thing to beat Galway and to actually qualify the Super 8s that there was just a kind of a mental letdown. Maybe that was it. And they go into playing Meath obviously next weekend in a must-win game for them now to try and give themselves a chance to make those semi-finals.
Has that ever happened to yourself personally, where you've come through a few battles and you've gotten to where you want to be, and then the performance doesn't happen? So you yourself, what do you do? It's
purely all of sport is about the top 6 inches. It's about that mental, how you can get your mind so tuned into the job that you have at hand. And obviously they're going to be absolutely disgusted with their performance, that it wasn't anywhere close. So it gives them a good opportunity to at least, find what they need to do and rectify it in a week. And they're not going to get fitter, they're not going to become better footballers in a week. It's just about that mental side of it now, and getting themselves right for Meath obviously next week.
Finally, are we allowed to start talking about Kerry now, as at the very least we can't even look at All-Ireland contenders, semi-finalists?
I think so. I think they're after, there's no myth now. Kerry they're going to be there within a shout. There's obviously a lot of good teams left, and we know Dublin are still the best team in the country by a long way. But they're just going to put themselves in that conversation. I think they're after making Gaelic football, the remainder of the championship, a lot more interesting with that performance, and it's great. It's great for the game. It's great for Kerry, obviously. But I think football got a real shot in the arm with that performance by Kerry today.